so excited to be back at Revolution Church. You have no idea. It was so incredibly hot in Haiti, y'all. I can't even tell you. Richard came back looking skinny, and I guess I retained all the fluid because I'm like dying. So I wanted to tell you just really quick, show a couple of pictures of what we did in Haiti. We worked really, really hard. I sent Josh a couple of pictures to show you how hard we worked. The first one looks like this. That. Okay. And then the next picture looked like, what do we got, Josh? Okay, it's coming. Do that. So Richard made friends with all the animals. You will see. What's another picture looks like? That actually kissed Richard in the face, y'all. It was hilarious. Right? We worked really hard. Can't you tell? Is there any more, Josh, of Rich working hard? That view is incredible, though, right? I mean, I'm not talking about the mountains. I'm talking about Rich. I was kidding. Okay, so the next couple pictures you're going to see, this is Richard. He taught the kids he was teaching some of the kids the slap game, and those kids showed no mercy on him. CDH knows, their hands were red from it. Another picture from Haiti this week is, it's coming. This is Richard being Goliath to all the kids. And it's funny because one of the things all the kids would say, they would say, bonjour, when they would come in. So Richard didn't know, the Creole French thing. So he would go, no bonjour, to all the kids because he was being Goliath and mean to them. They were scared to death of him. So this is him, and that's our translator, Jerry, who is incredible. And then that's Eric. He was our storyteller for the entire week. It was awesome. And then here's a picture. This is the road, the compound that we were on. If you go down this road, on the right is the compound we stayed at, Disciples Village, where they host missionaries. And then across is an orphanage called Alex House, where they have an orphanage there. And so here is Richard and Tyler having to carry all the water that they didn't know they were going to have to carry, which was the funny part, because they pulled us up and they let us out of the truck. And I saw Richard and Tyler, their faces oh, we got to carry that water. And so I walked behind and took pictures, and they carried the water down the road. And any more pictures I have? And this is a sweet picture, and then we're almost finished, I promise. I just wanted to kind of share with you just a second. But at the top of this hill is a village. And this morning, my heart is so heavy because I look at this picture. All of these kids were so excited when we showed up at the top of this mountain. We rode in the back of a truck, all of us, all 10 of us, up this mountain, and a horse kind of led the way. When we got to the top of the mountain, the kids were so excited, and there's this school, the one that you just saw with banana peel leaves for the sides, and then a little tarp for the top of the roof. And so this village had a 14-year-old girl in it who was in the first grade because she had never been to school before. So this Disciples Village had partnered with some people in this village to put up a school. So this morning when I was thinking about these pictures, you can take those down, Josh. When I was thinking about those pictures and this message and those kids in that village, my heart breaks because there's a hurricane level 4 coming at this village, and they have no idea what's about to hit them. So I read a scripture in Isaiah 55, and I want us to pray really quick just for that village. It's in Isaiah 55:11. It says, so shall my word be that goes from my mouth. It shall not return to me void, but it shall accomplish what I please, and it shall prosper in the thing for which I sent it. This week, we spoke Jesus into those kids. We told them that God was big. We gave them rocks to signify David and Goliath. And this morning, they got something really big coming at them. They may go without food even longer. Most of the kids there only ate once, maybe twice a week. But they were so filled with joy. And I feel like when we sung the songs, it literally did something inside of me. So I want us to close our eyes really quick. We're going to pray for Haiti and those kids. And we're going to jump into our message, okay? Dear God, thank you so much for this morning, God, that we're able to sit comfortably in a chair, Lord. We're fully clothed. We're bathed. We've eaten breakfast, God. But there are kids in a village all over Haiti, God, that have no idea what's coming their way. So God, I pray for you to send help. and to cover them. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, I'm not crying. I'm done. Okay. If Avery was here, she would be hand clapping with me. I am so thankful for the CDH people that came this morning. Those are Rebecca's people, but now they're my people. And so we love it. Right, guys? They're at summer camp all summer, and we get to see them serve in a capacity of like really serving. But Richard and I got to see them serve with, oh my word, I feel like, what am I even doing here? Because everything, these students, some who've graduated, some who are just taking a gap year, gave it all. There was silliness. They acted goofy. They talked about poop a lot. We had the Haitian hustle going all week, if you know what I mean. It was unreal. They know it. But this morning, I want to talk to you about to continue our series, Are We There Yet? We're going to be in Genesis chapter 22, if you want to go there with me. We have pretty good, Josh has it up on the screen for you. And I want to read the entire thing, 1 through 18, just to kind of set the tone, and then we're going to break it up. Because when we think about Are We There Yet? It implies two things. Number one, we're headed somewhere. You're going somewhere. You have a dream or a calling on your life, and you're headed there. There's something in you that you know you're going somewhere, right? Number two, that you're waiting, and you have to travel to get to that place. There's some kind of journey that God has you on right now in this season of your life that you've got to get there, right? So let's read Genesis chapter 22, verses 1 through 18. I'm going to read it up here because I'm blind. Okay, so it says, sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am, he replied. Then God said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and loaded his donkey. He took with him 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. When he had cut enough wood for the burnt offering, he set out for the place God had told him about. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servants, stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship and then we will come back to you. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac, and he himself carried the fire and the knife. As the 2 of them went on together, Isaac spoke up and said to his father Abraham, Father? Yes, my son. Abraham replied, the fire and wood are here, Isaac said, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham answered, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. And the 2 of them went on together. When they reached out the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took his knife to slay his son. Verse 11, but the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham, here I am, he replied. Do not lay a hand on that boy, he said. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. Abraham looked up, and there in a thicket he saw a ram caught by its thorns. He went over and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called that place, the Lord will provide. And to this day it is on the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. The angel of the Lord called to Abraham from heaven a second time and said, I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies, and through your offspring all nations on earth will be blessed because you have obeyed me. That's a lot, and we're going to break it down. I'm so excited to break it down. Last November, I went on a trip to Thailand. My luggage for Thailand, which maybe I took the bigger suitcase. I don't remember. But I went to Thailand, and the whole concept of being, are we there yet, is an understatement. Because there's 21 hours on a flight, 2 hours layover in Orlando, 4 hours in Tokyo. I was going with people that I had no idea, had never seen before, maybe just one person at camp. I had no idea how to speak the language, like nothing. That blows my mind. Had no idea how to speak the language. I was going to be on the other side of the globe, which Richard reminded me a lot. He would be eating Thanksgiving dinner, and I would be on the other side of the globe. He would say, honey, you're going to be here, and I'm going to be here. And the more that he said that, it settled in. I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm going to be on the other side of the world away from my family. But I was called to go. So this journey of me going on this long flight, 21 hours in the sky, I knew that God wanted me to wait well. And there's 3 things that I believe they're going to really help you on this journey to getting where you called to be. Are we there yet? Those moments. The first thing is your posture determines how well you wait. Your posture determines how well you wait. On that plane, I had an assigned seat, and you would think they would say, I wish they had like a weight on there when you like did your plane, like, oh, I'm a fit girl, put me on the end seat or give me first class. But they don't. They put me in the middle of every single flight that I go on. So it wasn't that I was on the end seats. No, on those kind of international flights, it's a double-decker plane usually, and there's a huge row of seats in the middle. You know who was in the center of that plane? I was. I thought I was going to die. Mother Nature hit, let the go, stop it there. The day that I stepped on the plane, I literally thought, how am I going to get up every hour? Are you kidding me? I was sweating. I thought everybody on the plane was terrorists. Like, I was convinced that the plane was going to go down, and I had to be strong because I'm leading this group of people that I've never met before. But I had a neck pillow, which is really, really handy. If you ever go on a plane, my mom bought me a cheesy owl one. I probably wouldn't have bought, it's really cute, I'm thankful, Mom. But she bought me a cheesy owl one, and this helped me, my posture, when I'm sitting on a plane for many, many hours. I was able to tilt my head to rest for a little bit at a time. Now, I would wake up, and it'd be like on the tracker, you have 7 more hours. Like, are you kidding? But I could sit my seat back a little bit. My posture determined how well I waited on this flight. The same thing with Abraham. In verse 1 it says, God tested Abraham and said to Abraham, and he said, here I am. His posture towards God mattered because 2 things came out of that. Number 1 was his response. He responded quickly. Look at the very next verse. It says, take your son, Isaac, the one you love, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering. Verse 3 says, so Abraham rose early in the morning. He was ready to prepare. He had to prepare the things. He rose early. He didn't wait. He didn't wait it out. When God calls us to do something, the posture of our heart of responding has to respond in a way of obedience, and it's responding quickly. Because that's what is going to position you for the next part, and that is the posture of surrender. Abraham was willing to loosen the grip, responding quickly by saying, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to posture my heart in a place of responding to you. But first, his heart had to be in a posture of surrender so that he could actually put his feet on that road to go. He was willing to be stretched. He was willing to let go from the thing that he had such a tight grip on. And that's how we are. We hold tightly to our dreams. We hold tightly to our marriages that are falling apart. We hold tightly to when our finances are out of control. We hold tightly to the place that we have no idea what our next steps are. We hold tightly to the whole thing of manipulation. We hold tightly to porn addiction. We hold tightly to food addiction. We hold tightly. And God is saying, I need you to put your posture in a place of surrender. When I think about that, the posture of our hearts, when my posture is upright, I'm able to see clearly. I'm able to see God, and my hands go into a place of surrender. Our posture determines how well we wait. Because if your posture is towards the thing that you want the most, you're not going to wait well. In fact, you're going to be numb, you're going to be angry, you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to give up on it because your posture is surrendered to what you're wanting so badly. You're waiting for it, which leads me to number 2. What you are carrying determines how well you wait. Okay, so in my backpack, oh my gosh, okay, sorry. Forgot, there's things in here. Okay, so in the beginning of my Thailand trip, it's another really cute item my mom bought me for my trips that I begged her for as a Christmas present. Okay, so I know it's not Christmas yet, but whatever. Okay, so somebody said to me, Holly, you need to make sure you have really good earbuds when you go on a long trip because, number 1, you need a neck pillow, but you need earbuds that don't go into your ears because after a while, they get irritated. So get you some big ones. So I didn't bring those. Steve Cost had some. I took his, and so these are just like an example. But I had some really big headphones. They weren't Beats. I wanted to put a B on them to look like I was cool like Jonathan. But I didn't. But I didn't have Beats, but I had big, huge, furry Sony ones, okay? Okay, the next thing that I had in my book was a book, okay? Because if I'm going to wait well, and I can't watch every movie twice, because scary movies scare me. because I'm really going to think people are going to take the plane down. So I can only watch the kids' movies as many times as you have on there, and there's not many. So I think I watched, I don't remember what I even watched, but I took a book. So I was able to rest my mind a little bit to be able to wait well. What we're carrying determines how we wait. I also had water. That was something that they said, make sure you drink water because your legs are going to swell up. And Lord knows my legs are going to swell up. So I waited well because I had the things in my backpack that's going to help me wait well. When I look at Abraham, if you go to verse 6 in your Bibles, I love that it talks about Abraham. It says, then on the third day, Abraham lifted his eyes and saw the place afar. And Abraham said to his young man, stay here with the donkey, and I'll go yonder and worship. Verse 6, so Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it at Isaac's feet. And I love what he said he brought. It says he brought fire, which I'm not really sure how that happened. Maybe hot coal, whatever. He took a knife, he had a wood, and he had the sacrifice. He only was carrying what he needed right then. That's the only thing that we're told that he was carrying. He was carrying only what he needed in that season of his life. But what happens to us, we get to a place where we say, you know what, God? I know you're calling me to a place of a dream, but there's something in me that wants to carry around manipulation. I want to carry around manipulation because if I can do better than you're doing, because I keep asking you to open doors for me and you're not doing it, so let me open the doors for you. So I'm going to manipulate. I'm going to put people around me. I'm going to talk a certain way. I'm going to act a certain way because I need to move this along because you're not doing a very good job of it. And it goes into our backpacks that we're carrying, and it's suddenly so heavy we can't even hold ourselves up in a posture of surrender. We're going down and our eyes are going off of God and onto what we're carrying. The next thing, maybe, that you're carrying, wow, these things are really heavy. I've been carrying bags of water in Haiti, y'all. Okay, clearly not. Okay, the next thing is porn addiction. This is huge. I hear it every day. Some of you are trying so hard to love your wives, but you can't because you love porn more. Same thing goes for wives. This is not just for men. Ladies struggle with porn addiction too. That means the books you read. That means the things that we watch, things that we go into our ears, the people we surround ourselves to. Porn is just not a porn clip on a video. It's so much more than that. It's everything that perverses the love of God between a man and a woman. And porn addiction makes you not love your spouse the way that God intended for you to love her. And if you want your marriage to be better, you have got to put down pornography, period. Next thing. Thank goodness there's only 2 in here. More. The next thing, this is good, disobedience. Y'all, we walk around begging God to do big things in our lives. And the next thing that I know even with myself, God, I'm called to speak freedom into girls' lives. And then the next person that walks up to me, I become so overwhelmed with my body image. Oh my gosh, are they going to think that I'm too big? Am I not good enough? Maybe I just won't talk. Next thing I've known, I've stepped into a place of disobedience and I've placed that on my back and I'm carrying it unnecessarily. I'm carrying it unnecessarily. And you're walking around here and you can't get to the place where God has called you because you are carrying around disobedience. The last one in my Bible, in my book, my bag, it's a B word, is unforgiveness. There's so much unforgiveness that we carry from season to season, from journey to journey, that just piles on our hearts. And we can't get to a place of carrying and doing what God's called us to do in the season we are called to do it in because we are carrying unforgiveness, and you have to drop it. You have to drop it. The heaviness of unnecessary weight, all it does is keeps our eyes on the weight. There's something about putting your hands up out of the posture of response and surrender that dropping that released the complete weight. I had one more in here, but if I didn't, this would be really easy for me to carry. It would be easy for me to carry on a journey that is really, really long. Which leads me to number 3. Your position determines how well others wait. Look at verse 4 and 5. Then on the third day, Abraham lifted his eyes and saw the place afar off. Then Abraham said to his young men, "Stay here with the donkey, and I will go yonder," in KJV, "go yonder, and worship, and we will come back with you." So for 3 days, Abraham has just what he needs for what he's been called to do, which is sacrifice what he loved the most, the thing he prayed for, and God told him he was going to give him. So now you're going to take this. So I'm thinking in my head, on this long journey, I wonder if he prayed out loud. I wonder if his heart was beating so fast out of his chest. Thinking about you, was he touching Isaac? Was he rubbing his head? Was he holding his hand? Did he touch his back? Did he say, "I love you"? Because I know this walk was a 60-mile walk to this mountain where he was placed to go sacrifice. 60 miles. To walk, to think, to worry, to trust, to worship, to get to a place of posture of where God's called him to go. It was heavy on him. But I believe the position of his heart showed us that he believed God was a God that was going to provide. Because what did he say? We're going to go and we're going to come back. I love the picture when it says he lifted his eyes. What a picture of position. Our position matters. I know it's funny because when I have this suitcase from Thailand, now I'm embarrassed because my dirty clothes are still in here, Mom, so don't fuss at me later. But my dirty clothes, not from Thailand, but from Haiti, which I got home last night. Okay, so in my suitcase, it looks like this. There's dirt and there's change, and I wish there was some money, but there's not. Okay, so on this side of here is all my dirty clothes stuff, okay? So when I went to Thailand, I knew that when I went, I wanted to bring back a bunch of presents because in November, it's like right before Christmas, right? And everybody told me, "Girl, they've got pocketbooks over there. Oh, my word, they got this." So in my head, I'm like, everybody in my family is getting Christmas presents from Thailand. So when I went, I packed everything in Ziploc bags, and I put them in like bags, my jeans, my shirt, all the other stuff, put them in Ziploc bags, and I sealed them, and I put them on this side of my suitcase, and I zipped them up because I knew that this side was going to be filled up with things, right? All the prizes, and my kids felt like it was, I couldn't even wait till Christmas. I gave it all to them as soon as I walked in the door. Had jet lag, and I was like, "I got you this, I got you this. Don't tell so-and-so, but I got you a scarf." Like, I was so excited about having all my prizes. But when I look at Abraham's posture determined how well what he carried. And then it says this, I love this in verses 13 through 18. Let's look at this. Then Abraham lifted his eyes and looked, and there behind him was a ram caught in a thicket by its thorns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up for a burnt offering instead of his son. And Abraham called the name of the place, "The Lord will provide." And it said in that day, to this day, "It is the mount of the Lord, it shall be provided." Then the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time out of heaven and said, "By myself I have sworn, says the Lord, because you have done this thing and have not withheld your son, your only son. Blessing, I will bless you, and multiplying, I will multiply your descendants as the stars of the heaven, as the sand which it is on the seashore. And your descendants shall possess the gate of their enemies. In your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed because you have obeyed me." It says his enemies would be conquered. His kids, grandkids, all the way down would be blessed. He went knowing he was going to come back with just his son. He prepared to come back to receive more than he ever could ask or imagine. He came back with blessings far more than a son. He came back with possession of the enemies. He came back promising, knowing his descendants would conquer their enemies. I love in verse 13, it says, he lifted his eyes. Here's what I know, is that I don't believe for a second that God was going to have him sacrifice Isaac, because he looked down on human sacrifice. Go into Leviticus, it's pagan worship. He didn't want anything to do with that. But I believe that God wanted Abraham to sacrifice Isaac in his heart so he could clearly see that he loved him more than what he had gotten by his promise. Some of us love our dreams more than we love God. Some of us love our spouses more than we love God. Some of us love the things in our life more than we love God. Some of us love our kids more than we love God. Some of us love our jobs and our callings and our giftings more than we love God. And that's not going to do anything. All God is doing is saying, I need to clearly you see that you love me more than what you're asking for me to give you. And that's when things begin to move. This morning, I want to ask you, where are you on this journey? As you're waiting this thing out, you're wanting your marriage to change, you've got to look up. He knew where to look. As soon as that angel yelled out, he looked up. He didn't look around him from what he brought with him. He looked up because he knew who was going to provide it for him. Maybe you're in this place where you are holding so tightly, and God is saying, I need you to drop it. And that's one of the hardest places to be in because you're afraid that you're not going to come back with what you surrendered. But God, you gifted me in this. God's saying, go sacrifice it. Look up to me. And I promise you, I'm going to blow your mind. I'm going to blow your mind. You have to get to the place of laying it down. You know, last week, we were in Haiti this whole past week, but the week before that, I got called into my office with my boss. I was on a Monday morning. And for about 10 years, I have given everything I have in my mindset, the way I talk about. I'm obsessed with sex trafficking. I went from thinking all men were pimps to, can I just please help one girl? So I've come a long way. But it was hard for me when I first started working there because I looked at relationships differently. It really, really took a toll on Richard because I emotionally carried the weight of those girls. The things that they heard and saw. I was disgusted by just men and everything about them. And God shifted something in me, and He gave me a passion for awareness and to loving on these girls and to giving them a place of just refuge for a little bit. So last Monday, I got called into my work, and I'm sitting down, and the words roll off my boss's lip. She says, Holly, we don't have the funding anymore. We're going to have to eliminate your position. So I got laid off. A week before I go to Haiti, I'm like, wait a minute, what? I literally had to stop and say, but these are my girls. I love these girls. I talk about Jesus with them, and I'm doing all these good things, and I take them, I want them to be everything that we do as a church, and I want them to see God in a new way. And it did something in me, and at first I was like, well, dang. I was mad a minute. But God sweetly took something into my heart that I remembered that He had put in me a month before that ever happened. I blogged about it, told my friends about it. I kept hearing Him say Psalm 51 in my ear. And it was creating me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit in me. I had learned that years ago. I didn't memorize that just for this. God said, create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit in me. He kept saying it, create in me a pure heart, O God. I'm like, okay, but what does that mean, God? And I look at the word definition of steadfast. It says firmly fixed, not subject to change. I knew that in a moment, in a season, that I would be rocked. My girls were going to be looking to me. I looked to Richard to see how he was going to respond. Because how we position ourselves determines how well other people wait. So the next person who gets laid off, they're going to say, well, I remember in that season where Holly, she responded this way. Richard used to preach messages up here, but now look at him responding to him this way. And I sat on my back porch with Richard, and he said to me, I'm not worried about it, but I like to get my nails done. And so I no longer have nails. They're stubby. They look horrible, but whatever. I had to let that go. I love to have coffee dates. Well, now they're going to be sitting on my back porch drinking out of, maybe people don't drink all the coffee with me at my house. There's no room in my house that's done, y'all. Me and Richard are still sleeping on an air mattress, except last night I kicked him off and he slept in the floor. We don't have a bed delivered yet. There's no painting job that's done in my house. There's no bathroom that's done in my house. There's no floor that's not done. There's not one room in my house that is complete, y'all. It has been a year of literally of hell. And God positioned me to a place where I can finish some things. But I had to get my place and my heart to be steady, to be immovable. And 1 Corinthians 15:58 says this: therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Again, told me that again. Let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor is the Lord is not in vain. The result of my surrender, the result of my positioning, the result of what I'm carrying has nothing to do with me, but God. He is the one is in the business of giving the promises. I have to do nothing but be still and let nothing move me. Some of you are in this place, you are swaying. You're like, Holly, I'm hearing you, but I feel like everything is coming at me. My marriage is on the ropes. It's about to go down for the count, and there's something in me that needs to change. I'm telling you, stand firm. Get your eyes off of your spouse. Get it on to Jesus. You have no idea what's in your next season. Get your eyes off that next season. Do what's in front of you and keep your eyes lifted up to Jesus. So I want you to bow your heads with me for a minute. There's 3 things that I talked about this morning, and it was the posture of surrender, the posture of response. Talked about what you're carrying, the weight of the things that are weighing you so heavily down that you feel like you're limping. You can't even get to this place in a journey because you are limping. Or maybe it's your position. You don't believe God's going to provide. Therefore, your position is in a place of unbelief. So right now, maybe for the first time, you have just came in and you've never given your life to Jesus. With your every head bowed and eyes closed. Just like 3 days later, God provided a sacrifice in the place of Isaac. 3 days later, after Jesus was beaten for us, God rose him from the dead so we could eternally live with him.